But yeah, today what we're gonna do is we're gonna redo the track shader basically. So what I mean by that, let me just hide the loading screen here, just for my own, for my purposes. But yeah, what we're doing today is I'm making a track shader, and what that is I'll show you right now. So I can make a guitar here, for example. Pick 2022. How you doing today? Let me just turn off all the volume so I don't get blasted by lawyers. I don't know this song, but basically the track itself. So like it turns blue when you have star power. You know it turns yellow. Thank you, Kadu. I appreciate that. But yeah, basically like the track changes colors and stuff. Currently, it isn't like the greatest system, right? It's all hard coded. So what I want to do today is make this more like customizable, if that makes sense. Because currently it can only turn blue, it can only turn yellow, stuff like that. So nothing like crazy at all. So yeah, my plan here today is, just to get her done. Right? We're just gonna start from scratch. The thing with shaders is that it's not like programming. I mean, it can be programming if you want it to be programming. But the majority of the time, it is just a graph. And what that means is if I take a look over here in the track shader, it's a lot more easy to understand, right? You have nodes, right? They connect from one place to another, and basically that indicates like a data flow. So it's like a circuit kind of, if that makes sense. Like a circuit board. And yeah, I mean, it looks kind of complicated, and that's because this shader is pretty bad. But today we're going to completely wipe this out, and we're going to make a new shader that's going to be a lot better, hopefully. Let's go through the development of the track curve at all. I'm actually not sure what's going on with that, because it was being developed a little bit ago. But I think we hit like a wall, really. Like there are a lot of issues that come with that. Kaidu, thank you. I'll take a look at that in a minute. I'll call this the new track. I'll just call this I should call this a highway probably, because it's not called a track, it's called a highway. Yeah, I haven't heard about it in a few weeks either, so I'm not too sure what's going on with that, but hopefully we can get, that going soon. Right, shaders are pretty limited, right? I can add a variable, but it isn't like, you can't have much, right? There's only like certain things you can have here. And we can't really have arrays either, as far as I'm aware, right? You can have a texture 2D array, but I'm not too sure what that is. Yeah, it just is like, one thing. So we can't really have like arrays here, so we have to do each thing separately. Let me just not do that. Whoops. What's the category? Okay, so we can have like a drop-down category. That's perfect. We can use that for each layer. Keyword material quality. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, so we can have like enums, I guess. Custom enums. Right, we have, yeah, right here. And we can fill in the entries, which is really cool. That is going to come in great use. Just like that. What else can we have? I think that's about it. We have Boolean, right? True or false. But yeah, I mean, yeah, let's just get started, I think. So if we take a look at the main highway as a base here. Bada bing, bada boom. You can see there's multiple layers. So this looks kind of weird, but I believe it's because of the fading. So that's kind of annoying. But I believe, right, there's a lot going on here, so it's kind of hard to explain. But basically, at the most simple level, we have the main texture. And the main texture is like this. I don't know if you guys can see this too well. I can make the icons a little bigger. Right, it's like a normal track, and there's other states that we apply on top of it. We kind of don't want to do that, right? We want it to be all customizable. So, for example, in the future, the star power can be whatever color you want, etc. So in order to do that, we're going to have to make all those different properties. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is make a category and call it the base. And this is just basically going to be like the bottom, layer, which is probably only going to be a color. Now let's just take a look at what Kadu sent me. Yeah. So he's basically sending me a bunch of things. Like, here is kind of what it looks like, right? It's gonna look sick. Here's what it looks like in game. But yeah, it looks a lot better than the current system. Not system, the current textures. So if we can update those, put those in, make it customizable, it's gonna be perfect. So yeah, we're gonna have the base layer, which is basically just gonna be a color. So I'm gonna add in a color, and I'll just call this base color, or base dash color, because we want to distinguish the variable names, as you can see. So this is part of the base category, so the variable reference should start with underscore base, right? And the default color is gonna be this color that Katie sent me, just like that. And we're gonna make it full opacity, of course. And what we can do is we can drag this and just connect this color up to the base color. And now the track is of that color, right? It's a pretty simple system. Grant, how you doing? Nice to see you here. Today we're just making a new track shader to make it look a lot better. So hopefully it does. Okay. So if I just want to take a look at the smoothness values. As you can see, Grant, thanks for the follow, appreciate that, big time. As you can see, if we take a look at here, the track in this instance is kind of shiny. Nice to hear, Grant. But yeah, the track's kind of shiny here, and I'm not too sure how shiny it is currently. It just looks like 0 smoothness, which just means it's not like smooth at all, no shine at all. So if I just go back to the highway here, I want smoothness to be 0, right? Because then we get no shine, and that is probably a little bit better. We could have a little bit of metallicness, but honestly, I think just dealing with like raw colors is a lot better to deal with. Okay, so alright, so Kadu is proposing 4 layers, which I think is awesome. Like we really don't need any more than that, and it's also like a good number to deal with. Like I don't want like 1,000,000, you know, that would be very annoying. I'm gonna rename this to layer 1 in that case. Then I can do layer 1 color, as you can see. And now we have that going. Yeah, we do want to make it customizable, but the issue with smoothness and metallicness is that they are quite like finicky to deal with because they have to do with lighting, not texture, right? So if I make smoothness to 1, from this angle it looks pretty much the same, but from over here, boom, now there's like a big light in the way. So it really depends on the angle, which changes depending on, you know, camera settings. So I really don't want to make, I just want to make it as consistent as possible, basically. That's the goal. So yeah, now what else do we need on this layer? So yeah, so basically we can make this color change depending on like the track state, so we can make it like a base groove or whatever. Now it's blue, right? So some pretty cool stuff. I think that's about it for layer 1. We could add like some sort of fading or something, but we can deal with that later. So the next layer seems to be the small pattern, as Kadu has suggested. I'm just gonna base this off of what Kadu is saying, because he's an artist and I'm not, and he probably knows more about this than I do. So next layer is the small pattern, which I assume is this right here. I'll just save this image right now, put in my downloads. I'll actually drag this right in to YARG right now off screen. So I'll do assets, art, textures, play mode, I'm gonna make a new folder called the highway, just so we can have like different presets or whatever. And we can call this small pattern or something. Small pattern default, I think, in case we want to make that customizable for us. And now if I go over here, art, textures, play mode, highway, there is the small pattern right there. And we do want to make this transparent, so I'm going to check alpha is transparency. And now it's transparent. I think the other settings are good for now. JNAC, how you doing today? And yeah, of course it's gonna be like quite easy to customize because we'll make it so you can import textures, whatever. But we do need some base stuff as well, of course. I'm actually gonna give them names, so I'm just gonna call it layer 1. Just the solid color. Layer 2 would be details. And I believe, well, we would need a, I believe, does this like change color as well, I wonder, in base group? I believe it would. Actually, it has an opacity though, so it might not. But I'll add a color field anyways. So we'd have a texture 2D, layer 2, texture. Yeah, like use its way of loading charts for it, right? I mean, yeah, if you were to make your own version of YARG, it would just be everything, but you can take stuff out that you don't need, add more stuff in, whatever. But I must say there is a lot of things that we still have to do, and it's like some things are like really annoying to deal with. So chart loading is really annoying because there's so many edge cases. You know, caching is really annoying because there's also so many edge cases, right? Because people can have broken songs and stuff like that. So you gotta deal with everything. So anyways, here's a layer 2 texture. By default, I'm gonna do the small details. Or small patterns, sorry. And I'm gonna put this through a sampler. And what this does basically is it converts the texture argument into a color. Which is really useful. Because what we can do now is basically apply it on top of here, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna make a new field called a, I'm just gonna make it a color, right? So a layer 2 color, and the color can actually contain the alpha in it. So I'll make it pure white, which basically means same colors. Because, you know, if we multiply anything by 1, it just gives us the same thing, right? So that's what white does in this case. But the alpha, I can set it to, I don't know, 15%. I believe I can do math in here. Let's see. Whoops. Yep, that works. Right, so that's 15%. And now this, what I gotta do is take this color and multiply it with the texture, which basically gives us the result we want. So I'm actually going to group this. I'll just say group selection layer 1. Layer 1 is pretty simple. I'm going to do that over here as well. So group selection layer 2. Kind of like that. And yeah, basically now we got to find a way to layer it on top of the previous layer. Now there's multiple ways to do that, but I believe there's a blending node which basically deals with it for us. So the base, which in this case is layer 1, and the blend is what we want to put on top of it. And then obviously that's our new output. Now that doesn't really seem to work, and that's because we got to control the opacity, I believe. So if I do 0, I'm actually not too sure how the blending node works in all honesty. I'm more experienced with the lerping, which is basically achieves the same thing. So A, B, and then we would split off the alpha and set that to T. And I believe I did the opposite. So this should be A, this should be B. And then put this in there. Yep, there we go. Actually, I think did I get it right the first time? I think I just didn't connect the node. Yeah, my bad. Anyways, yeah, there's the texture on there now. Looks pretty cool. So there's layer 2 in. Try and multiply. Well, yeah, I was trying like overlay it, but it should be overlaying it. I mean, I can try multiplying it. Like, does it just act as multiply now? Like, if I add in a multiply, is this and this now the same? I'm not really too sure how this node works, in all honesty. Let's take a look. What is the, like, I'm not too sure what the opacity does either. Yeah, Grish, if you want to do that, please go ahead. That would make it, we can discuss it before implementing it, which is probably the best. Realistically, I should also make a proposal for this, but it's kind of like needed anyways, and we can make it look almost exactly the same, so it's more back-end, I would say. No problem. Anyways, let's just see if the color actually works here, because I believe, yeah, if obviously that's 100%, set to 0 is 0, and I think I can just set to float actually, yeah, it's so much easier. 15%, boom. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Okay. Now layer 3 is basically, as Kadu mentioned, the custom layer. And this is where someone would put in their custom, track texture. And Kadu has a beautiful one right here. I'll just show it on stream here, right? This looks amazing. It's a little compressed actually, I'm not too sure why. But it's just a test anyways. So I'll just keep it for now. Doesn't matter too much. Let me just save it in my YARG folder here. Oh, it's from Guitar Hero. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought you made that. I mean, I'll take it anyways. I'll remove it before we commit, of course, because I don't want to get blasted. Okay, custom highway. I'll just save it as that for now, right? Okay, so we can obviously, sorry, not sprite 2D. This doesn't have any alpha, so I don't think I have to deal with that actually. Hot dog highway, that would be pretty cool. Okay, so anyways, now let's make a new category for layer 3. Whoops. Layer 3 custom. And obviously the layer 3 also needs a texture, so I can do that right here. Layer 3 texture. And obviously it also needs a color, so layer 3 color. There we go. And as default, I'm just going to use the Guitar Hero highway. Obviously we can change that later on. Also 75% was what Kadu mentioned, so I'll just use that. Now let's sample this, right? Convert it into a color. And then also multiply it. And yeah, that basically ensures that the alpha and the coloring's applied correctly. I can add a split in to actually lerp it correctly. Let me group this as well so it's more organized. This is layer 3. Whoopsies. Lerp. And the base is now the lerped one from before. And the new overlay is the layer 3, if that makes sense. Basically, we're chaining this all together. And that would go here now. As you can see, it is working actually. That's pretty cool. It's kind of hard to see. It's like the UV is messed up here because we're in a preview mode here. But yeah, it is. We can see it's overlaid correctly, right? It's 75%. Yada yada yada. And now for the last layer. Oh, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. As always. For layer 3, sorry, layer 4. We're on layer 4 already, Jesus. This might be a little bit easier than I thought it would be. There are layer 4's side patterns according to Kadu, so I'll just use that. Whoops. God damn it. And I believe this is like, you know, like what we have, like when you think of the Rock Band Highway, there's like little like curly bits on the side. So I believe that this is what that's referring to. Okay. We also need the color. Okay, so obviously we're gonna go through the sampling process again. Just like so. Pop the color in there as well. Also, let me save the texture Kadu sent me actually, because that would make it easier to test. Bada bing, bada boom. We're gonna split this off, and also loop it on. Yeah, basically we're just repeating the same process over and over again. It kind of sucks. If we use like actual like shader code, I believe you could make like an array. But in shader code, you want to avoid like conditionals, because GPUs, like that stalls GPUs by quite a bit. So if you can make everything mathematically related and not conditionally, like logically, it makes your shader like so much faster. So most of the time you do want to avoid, you know, for loops, stuff like that. There we go. And obviously that is gonna be that and that, I believe. Do the side patterns. And the color should be, I'm not too sure actually. I'm actually gonna disable the custom texture for a little bit just so I can see what I'm doing. I mean, that looks like pretty much like what we want already. It's really hard to tell in this small like window, honestly. And like the shading is kind of off as well. That is actually a lot easier to see. I'm gonna do cube instead. Right, so that looks like that. And if we want to do a custom layer, turn this on. Right, and it looks pretty good too. Yeah. Obviously, we would want to adjust how it looks a little bit, but honestly, like that is already pretty cool. Yeah, there is like a little bit of weird stuff happening like down here. It's honestly really hard to see with the preview, but like there is definitely some darkening here. I'm not too sure why. You know what? Oh, this texture might be flipped. Yeah, it is. Okay, sorry. So this is like the texture I'm looking at. Like the dark stuff is up here, but the texture on this cube is actually flipped, so it'd be down here. So I think that's fine actually. I think we're chilling. Okay. Okay, so that's all the layers really. Is there anything else we need on them? So basically, change the hue value. Oh yeah, the hue value, that's true. I can add that right now. So do we want a hue thing on like the detail layer as well? Because if I were to change it to like blue, like what does it look like? Yeah, honestly, it's like really hard to tell if it's blue. It is opacity though, so if I make this blue, maybe it'll be... Yeah, I guess that works. I don't know. I mean, we can experiment, obviously. Crap, I lost the color value now. Just like so. And this one should be white with 15%. I believe that should be good. Yep. Noise. Alright, let's add some hue now. So hue is like HSV basically. So if you don't know what hue is, it's basically like the color shift, right? Like the color parameter here isn't a color shift, it's like a multiplication. So if a texture is full white and we multiply it by red, it gives us red, right? Because white would be represented as 1, 1, 1, and red would be 1, 0, 0. And, you know, you multiply those together and you get like just the red, basically. If that makes sense. And hue doesn't work like that. So is there an HSV node? Like hue? There's a hue node, which is awesome. So that makes my life so much easier. So I would put this in here, take the multiplication, put it through here. I believe it should look like not much has changed. But if I choose this offset, nothing happens. I wonder. Wait, why isn't it working? It's kind of weird. Maybe it's just really hard to tell actually. Like if I definitely do see it doing something. Let's do a normalized range. That's a little easier to do numbers with. Again, it's really hard to see. Oh yeah, it's definitely doing something. It's just really hard to tell. Kaido, is there any specific like filtering method or whatever you want to use for hue? Because like it's impossible to tell the difference because the texture itself is like black basically. But yeah, the hue channel is actually really easy to use, so I'll just put that right there. And yeah, that's about it for that part really. So we do have the customization in already basically, which is pretty crazy. But that is the least of our problems as it turns out. Because if we look at the other track, there's a lot more going on. Now the majority of it is like the groove overlay stuff, so the groove stays, so you can change how much groove there is. So if I do 0 groove, it doesn't do anything apparently. Oh, that's because I was doing star power in my bed. Groove should be 0. As you can see now, it's like fully black, right? If I do groove 1, now it's blue, right? So basically all that is dealt with in here. We're gonna take that out of this and put it in a script, right? Because that way we can, you know, assign custom colors, stuff like that. But something we're missing currently is like a fade out near the top. Okay, so the top of the track is darker than the bottom. And if I look at Ramo Ski, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, but thank you for the follow, appreciate it. As always. But if I look at Kadu's thingy here, let me just open link. That way we can see a better view of it. But as you can see, it does get darker at the top compared to the bottom. So we do gotta implement some sort of fade out, yeah? And in order to do that, let's see what I did. So it seems like, okay, yeah, actually first we do need a tiling and offset. And this is because the track is taller than it is wide, and over here we're seeing like a square view of it. So and as you can see, the texture is 2 times taller than it is wide. So over here, I can have I'll make a new category called info or something. And I can do UV. Actually, it should be offset, tiling and offset. And basically, this is the UV we want to supply to all the layers. So I can just go like this. And now all the layers have that UV, which is really nice. Can I'm just gonna move this over a little bit so it lines up. Just like so. And yeah, we do want to supply a 0.5 tiling. Yeah, and now as you can see, the texture doesn't look stretched. It looks pretty normal now. Now offset is what we use to actually scroll the track. As you can see, when I change this value, it scrolls the track. So that means we do need a track offset variable. How I do that in the track shader is I just have a text offset vector, which controls the X and the Y basically. Except we don't really need the X because your track is never going to scroll this way, hopefully. Even in keys, I don't think the track shader itself will actually scroll. I think it'll just be the Y. So what I can do is make a combine node. Actually, I should use vector 2 node, yeah. Okay, so X we don't care about, Y we do. So I'm gonna make a scroll variable. Add X type strong. Yeah, I mean technically, we don't even need to do that in the shader though, because I can just rotate the camera, right? So then we don't have to redo everything. But yeah, now we have a scroll variable. We can change this value. It's kind of hard to see because if I change the value, it turns blue because Unity is just like that, but you know. Anyways, it does work though, so we got the scroll working. So I'm just gonna call this the scroll. Although I just got an idea. I do want to implement parallax. And if you guys don't know what parallax is, it's basically each layer scrolls at a different speed, and it kind of gives the effect of like 3D. And that could look very cool, I feel like. So that's what I'm gonna do. Just as an experiment, right? So I'm gonna make 3 tiling and offset nodes, which could be kind of messy, but you know what? It's fine. There's not really any other way we can do it. Put those all through there. Now we supply the actual scroll in each one as well, probably. So I would take this out and put these in right here. So basically I'm separating all the scrolling into multiple variables, just like so. And now instead of putting... Actually, I'm going to keep scroll as one variable. That way it'll be easier in script. But each layer can have its own... so do layer 2 parallax. Is that how you spell it? Let's take a look. Only one R. Okay. So I can do like a parallax multiplier or something. I'll just call it parallax, actually. That's fine. And basically, this value, if it's 1, it's going to scroll at the rate you think it's going to scroll. Why can't I reorder this? What's going on here? I think Unity is crapping itself. Let me just close these. Shaders, highway. Where are we? Here we are. Can I move her now? I can, okay. So yeah, parallax, and it's going to be a coefficient. So if it's 1, it's going to scroll at the same speed. 0.5, it's going to scroll at half speed. You know, stuff like that. So what I can do... Whoops, not cut. Damn it. Make a new node. And do multiply. So basically multiply the scroll by the parallax value and set that in the Y. And I actually don't need these little nodes anymore because it's all going to be over here. Right, I'm going to copy and paste this down over here. So we get the same thing for each of them. Y, Y. It's kind of wasteful doing the same thing over and over again. But for shaders, it is way more efficient, so it's actually fine, really. Okay, so let's make 2 more parallax values. So I'll do layer 3, parallax. Oops, didn't mean to put that D in there. Just like so. And I can do 1 more for layer 4. So layer 4, parallax. Hello. There you go. And yeah, we just gotta multiply each layer by that parallax amount, which is really cool looking. I'm gonna show you what this looks like in a little bit. And also I'm gonna add some connectors here just to organize the wires up a little bit. There we go. And now, actually, instead of doing a scroll, I'm gonna do a. Can I just like, crap? Like, is there like a vector, a float, right? So I can just show you guys what it would look like without it turning blue. So right here's what it looks like. Ooh, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to set these to 1. Right, so here's what it looks like without any parallax. As you can see, bottom right, you can see it just scrolls in one piece. Let's make the details scroll a little bit slower. So I can do 0.9 or something. And then we don't have a custom layer, so it doesn't really matter, but... Oh, that's pretty hard to see, but I do see it. Let me make it a little more exaggerated, 0.6 maybe? Boom, and now you can see that the top of it moves slightly faster than the bottom. Now I assume that can be a little bit disorienting, Can we do a WebM? I believe we could. We can just supply it with a render texture, I believe. I believe we can totally do that. It's kind of hard to see, but there is parallax here, so the bottom moves a little bit slower. Like, it kind of sucks how bad the Unity preview is, but that can be useful. We'll have to figure out the best way to make it not disoriented, but it's fine. As for the video, I believe I can do that, so if I do... Can I just put a render texture in a texture? Let's see. I think I have a dummy render texture. I can. Okay, so we can do videos totally. I can just put the video texture into there. Yeah, the clouds, yeah, we can totally do that already. I mean, I just gotta put this in, of course, but... now... Yeah, I mean, what I gotta do now is the fading, right? So as I said before, the track fades a little bit at the top. Now, if I take a look at this, it kind of just looks like it fades into black. But not really the top, like it's kind of hard to see what's happening here. But I can totally just add like a fade texture. Like in the music, yeah. Please check out these artists, they're pretty underrated. And they're letting their songs in YARG. So please check out the music if you like it. It would mean so much to them. Black, but more on the sides. Oh, I see. So like, it's more like curved a little bit. Can you like send me that texture? Like, do you have a texture for that? Because then it'll be a lot easier for me to just apply it onto here. But yeah, I can totally make sure, okay, awesome. I can make a new category called the fade. I got a link. I do have a Spotify playlist, I believe. It doesn't have everything, but you can definitely like check out the artists. I'll just can I like copy link? Yep, I can just put that right there. I believe that should take you to the playlist, which has all the artists in it. There are a couple more artists in the playlist than in my stream playlist, because some of them don't want my music played on stream or whatever. Actually, it's more like I haven't asked them, but yeah, please do check them out. They would appreciate that. And I would too, because it is good music, and I think it's underrated. But yeah, anyways, the fade layer, we would need a separate texture, so I can do texture 2D, fade texture. Just like this. Now the fade texture won't be really affected by scrolling, so we can make it its own separate layer again, basically. So I can do this, sample. And then yeah, basically, I wonder if I already do have some sort of like fade, like. Like, I feel like I did at one point at least have like some sort of fade texture for the track. I'm honestly not too sure though. Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, what we would do is put the fade texture in here. And then we would basically just multiply it. iOS icon, I think that's base with Unity, so no iOS version. I simply design. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it as always. Okay, so I'll kind of just do this. I think that should deal with that just fine. We would want to correct the UV. I'll make a vector 2 over here and call it, this will be like the tiling coefficient, right? So you have X and Y, just like this. And I can put these all in here, which means everything will have consistent tiling. Let me just make like redirectors here so I can organize this stuff. Do some little cable management, if you will. And yeah, obviously I can bring this down here, connect it over here. That's really ugly, so let me just make a line like this. There we go. We bring it all the way around. And yeah, we just multiply it. So basically, whatever texture this is, it should ideally be black and white. But okay, if we can do that too, actually. Yeah, honestly, it shouldn't be black and white, if I think about it now. Because that way, like, people can color it, and we probably don't want that. We can just multiply it by the alpha value, which is so much better. Because we want to restrict that a little bit. Yep, so I can save this image. Assets, art, and yeah, that way we can also compress it a little bit more, so it's perfect. I'll also call this fade underscore default. And then what we can do, highway, there it is. We would do instead, I can do single channel, channel alpha. And as you can see, it's kind of inverted. That's fine, really, though. I mean, it's fine if we can just re-invert it. I mean, I don't know if that's really worth it, though. Like, is it worth compressing it? I don't know. I think I'm just gonna keep it normal, honestly. And then alpha is transparency, of course. And we should probably not be multiplying it and be lerping it, because that actually improves the quality by a tad. You can just invert the image? Yeah, it's fine. I think I'm just gonna do it the normal way in all honesty. Because whoops, I actually didn't set the fade texture. Kitty, what do you think? Do you think it should be overlaid or multiplied? Because if it's overlaid, like, you can add some like funky stuff to it. If it's multiplied, I feel like, I don't know. I don't know what looks better in all honesty, but that's a little strong, of course. But I believe this is like the top half of it. So if I were to scroll it down a little bit, it should actually show like the correct one. Can I do a custom mesh and do like custom mesh? I just realized this option, track. Oh. Okay, there we are. That's pretty good. It is like all black actually. I'm not too sure why. I mean, yeah, the transparency is here. If I just split the alpha into a mask and then convert to paint and then I invert it, I think multiplying is gonna be better because for some reason I can't get the alpha working. I'm not too sure why. But if we multiply it, it'll still like give us the same effect anyways. So it doesn't matter that much. Single channel. We're gonna get the red channel. It looks red, but we're only gonna use the red channel, so it doesn't really matter that much. All I gotta do is what do I gotta do here? Oh yeah, I just gotta multiply it. And we're gonna multiply it by the red channel. And it's still just black. Why? Is like this UV wrong? Oh, it was wrong. It's just the UV the whole time. That's really weird. I'm not too sure why that's happening. Is this being scrolled? Oh wait, I'm stupid. Okay, this is just the tiling. Okay. That's my bad actually. Darn. Tiling. And also, yeah, this is the tiling input. Okay. My apologies for that one. And yeah, now it's almost working correctly. The fade's a little off. Realistically, we would want it pinned to the very top of the thingy. Should that's so confusing to you? Honestly, it was to me at first too, but you know, once you like do it for a while, you get used to it, I guess you can say. It does get pretty fun though. It's a lot less confusing than shader code though, because shader code is like nightmare, honestly. It's really annoying to deal with. So obviously, like, if we take a look at here, this is like one full texture length, and it's black at the top. So if we go beyond here, we'd want to keep it black. So basically, the question becomes, how can we keep it black and not have it repeat? And I believe if we go down to the fade here, instead of wrap mode repeat, we can do wrap mode clamp. And as you can see, now it's clamped, so it goes black all the way up to the top. And yeah, that's basically what we want. The shader graph is quite large, and we haven't even scratched the surface yet, really. Okay, so let's actually see what this looks like in game. I'm gonna have to redo some of the code, which is fine. I really wanted to anyways, so it's a win-win. So I'm gonna do a new, there's a track shader here. I'm gonna make a new one called the highway, which is with the new shader. Type in highway. As you can see, here's all the information. We have all the categories as well, which is really nice because we have so many variables to deal with. All the defaults are in, so it should be basically fine. Let's test her out on, actually I'm just gonna replace everything. Default check. The fade is not gonna be working, but that's fine. We can just add that in later. Play mode, highway, put that in, and it looks all like gray. I wonder why. Is it the fade? Is the fade backwards? Because I do see it over here. I don't know what's going on there. It might be upside down, honestly. And it's a lot easier to see in game. I'll just do it in game. Actually, wait. I just realized. If we fade to black, it's not gonna look like this. Like, it's not gonna actually go to black. It's gonna go to like what it looks like over here, right? It's gonna go like gray, and the reason why is because of the lighting. But obviously, I'll just see what this looks like in game. The track model is right here, and I'm gonna make a new script. I'll just put it in play mode for now. God, we gotta reorganize all this, but I'll call it the track material handler or something. We're gonna split things up a little bit more. This is in play mode, so dot play mode. There you go. Sorry, it's gonna be a little bit laggy for a little bit because I opened this up not too long ago. But basically, we're gonna have the. Sorry, is this in spaces? This should be in tabs. Convert to. Hello. Jesus. There you go. 2 tabs. Okay, so yeah, then we can have a serialized field with the mesh renderer. We can call this the track mesh. And basically, the reason why we want to get the mesh and not the renderer is so we can have the track customized per player. Because if we just pass in the material, then it won't be per player. It'll be like for every track material, basically. That means we have another private reference here. So private material, which is the actual just material. I'm going to do private void start underscore material equals track mesh dot material. Just that simple. Bada bing, bada boom. And then on the chalk model, we can just do material handler, drag in the mesh renderer, and everything else should be dealt with for us. I'm gonna actually quickly add implementation for the scrolling because we still gotta do that. So I can do, yeah, I can do a public float, call it the scroll, and this is gonna be in units. This will be set underscore material dot set float, I believe, and let's just take a look at what it's called. The scroll. Whoops, it's all like off screen here. Scroll is called underscore scroll. I should have known. So use that, and we're gonna set it to the value. And yeah, I can just do this actually. And now it says here that string-based property lookup is inefficient. Now, if you don't, there's a reason why, and that's because Unity doesn't actually use the strings. It actually uses a property index, kind of like this. So I can just do the scroll property stuff that's at the top, and yeah, that's about it. That's all we have to deal with. So that way it's a lot more efficient compared to a string comparison, basically. And obviously, in the common track, we got to add this whole functionality in. So, common track, I'm gonna completely get rid of the track renderer because that's now handled by the track material handler. So I'm just gonna do another field, serialized field, public track material handler, which is gonna be get private set. And over here, in abstract track, where we deal with all the materials, you can see we get a number of errors now. Now most of this is actually gonna be outdated, so I'm just gonna comment it out for now. I believe the start part bar is fine, but everything else. And track material doesn't exist. So instead of all this stuff, movement. Oh, that's true actually. We don't want to set it. We want to actually like subtract it actually. So I'm gonna make this a method. Public float scroll track float amount. And actually I'm just gonna do all the math in this method because that's so much easier to deal with on the front end over here. So movement is a certain amount. Instead I can just provide it with not the amount but the scroll speed. And then I can move all this stuff down here. Track materials underscore material. We can do get float the scroll property. Scroll speed is this. And then we, instead of set vector, we do set float of the old offset minus the new movement. Like this. I never think my coding is good. I just watched someone else code and realized I'm still a beginner. Well, you know, we all have to start somewhere, so there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, I was coding for like a very long time, so you know, that's completely fine. Beginners are good. Sorry, this shouldn't return a float. It should just be, you know, that, and you know that should deal with it all for us. So instead of this, I can do common track dot track material handler dot scroll track, and then we do the player dot track speed just like that, and that handles all the math for us because it's right here. And I believe that should be the same. Let's make that work in game. So we have to set the track material handler, which I can do right there. This is a banger song, by the way. Please listen to this one. Super, super underrated. Don't care, Epic Games. Sorry about that. That was bugging you. Let's add a guitar in. Oh no, this song. And it should technically be working. Let's see. Yeah, it is working. First of all, the fade is completely messed up. And like, I don't know, why is it appearing so early? Oh, I know why it's appearing so early. That's because the track render order should be, I forget what the track render order is. It should be -10. So on the highway, should also be -10. And honestly, I'm just gonna delete the old track material and call this material track, because that's what we call it in all the code, and I'm gonna keep it consistent. And another thing I want to do is do the same thing with the shader. So it's called track here, track old because it's the old shader, and I'll call the highway shader track. It's a lot more simple for me to understand. Yeah, it's really hard to tell what's happening right now, but I believe the UVs for everything are completely upside down. You gonna put online integrate YARG? Yeah, we are planning on it eventually. It's just that you know, online stuff costs a lot of money. So we're looking for a sponsor, or really, you know, something along those lines. But hopefully we can eventually. That'll be really fun. Anyway, if I pause this, so I should do this then pause it, and I go into the tracks, track view. Oops, I should be in 3D. Oh, wrong track view actually. It should be this one right here. As you can see, it's brighter near the top and darker near the bottom. So clearly it's flipped. So I'm honestly not too sure if that's to do with the script or the UV. So let me just take a look here. In the track shader. And let me just do a cube. Cause like I don't know if it's actually flipped. I mean, it looks like it's honestly really hard to tell. I can just flip the model, honestly, that's probably the easiest thing to do. Anyways. Let's take a look here. So track model. Yeah, I could flip it, but like I don't know if I want to do that because that messes with the fading and stuff too, I believe. It doesn't actually. Oh my god, Riley's a genius, bro. I just flip that 180 and it works. Did I mess anything up by doing that? It does look like it's offset a little bit. Actually, I think it was offset to begin with, so it's fine. There you go. Okay, so we can just flip the track around, that way the UVs are right. I'm not too sure these were right to begin with, so I'm just gonna flip this back around. Actually, it looks like it's right here, so I'm just gonna keep it like that. Anyways, then the UVs are correct. I think I rotated it the wrong way around, in the very beginning. So that's my bad. Let's see what that looks like now. Oh, actually, it's scrolling the wrong way. I know why though. It's because we're doing negative here. It should be positive. That is a really trippy effect, scrolling negatively though. That's kind of interesting. Okay, so let me just create a bot. We're really close, honestly. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I also added the parallax here, and I think it looks amazing, honestly. Like, that looks really cool. And that's built in. That's not a video. That's like part of the game, bro. Like, I don't know if you guys can see that on stream, but that looks pretty cool in my opinion. So the issue with the fade is, yeah, it fades to like gray. Now, it's because of the lighting mostly. We could fade it to shadow using ambient occlusion, which is what we did before. So if I were to just disregard that and just put it into ambient occlusion, right, I could totally just do that. Okay, never mind. It doesn't look like anything. Yeah, here's what it looks like without the fade, by the way, though. It's probably a little bit easier to see on stream like this. but you can see that the top, like the bottom layer is like offset a little bit, and it makes it look kind of 3D. Like it's honestly, I'm looking on stream right now, and it is kind of hard to see. So I apologize if you can't see it, but like the bottom is like slightly slower, which makes it look 3D, which is really awesome. Obviously, that could hinder with competitive play or something a little bit, so we will make that an option, but we noticed a bit. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think it looks awesome. I'm going to quickly add fade back in first. As you can see, the track isn't fading out, but all the notes are. So I think that's pretty easy to do. Thank you, Katie, for the kind comments, though. I appreciate it. Your textures look really good. Let's take a look at the old track, how Riley did it. So, okay, yeah, it's just this. I'm just gonna copy that over, I think. Put that into alpha. I'll group this up and call it the alpha fade. And yeah, we need the properties obviously. So if we take a look at the old track, fade 0, fade full. Okay, so I'm just gonna add that. Actually, I probably shouldn't be calling this fade because it's kind of hard to tell which is which. But anyways, I'm just gonna add the fade position 0, fade is full position, and bring those down. I like hide an inspector. Can I do that? Exposed. Okay, I can. So let's put that at the top actually, and we're gonna unexpose it. We don't want that to be visible in the editor. And obviously, fade 0, I can put that in, and fade full, I can put that in. Oh, this should be vector 3. God damn it. Whoops, my bad. Fade 0 position. I believe fade 0 position, fade full. Yeah, okay, that's awesome. Unexpose these because we don't want to edit these in the editor, because that's edited by a script. There we go. And I believe if we take a look at the materials and take a look at the track, yeah, we can't see those things, but they are still there, obviously. So I believe that should make fade work. Let's take a look. Yep, as you can see, the fade is back in. It does look a little weird again, though. You're very new to game dev, but I know a little bit about Unity and Unreal, so I don't know what to choose. Well, they both have their pros and cons. It really depends on what type of game you're making. So Unity is more like simple, you know. It has like, if you're new, I would recommend Unity personally, because it's a lot easier to use. But if you're more experienced and you want to make like a more realistic game, open world, choose Unreal. That's my little piece of advice for you. Sorry, what's the parallax effect that I'm looking for? So, it's like barely noticeable here, but if I go to the shader and crank this up to 0.3, you can kind of see what's going on. You see how the background of the track here, like I think it's pretty hard to tell on stream, so I apologize. Like, you can barely notice it on stream. But like the background here is moving slower than the foreground, and it makes it look kind of 3D. Like, I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, I think it looks really cool, personally. Obviously, we can't overdo that because it can make people sick. So 0.9. Yeah. But anyways, I want to do the colors now. Yeah, I will commit this, of course, and you guys can look for it yourselves, and you can, you know, Kadu or whatever can adjust it, but... Anyways, if I did want to do the colors, right? Oh crap, I'm adjusting the wrong thing here. I gotta adjust the actual track because this is being updated. So like, right, I can change the color to whatever I want. Obviously, that's a little bit too strong. Something like that. Something like that looks pretty good, I would say. I'm doing groove right now, by the way. So here's what I'm thinking. Bass or groove is gonna be a complete change of colors. Send a reference for the loot, awesome. Star power is gonna be an overlay because it's gonna like only be visible near the front. Oh yeah, by the way, Kadu, what like filter are you using to change the color? Because with the current setup, I can't change this, and I can't change the hue either, because the actual like swirly bits on the side, what do you call it, the side patterns, are like black, so like I can't change the color of them too well. Alright, so let's take a look at the new side pattern. So the new side pattern is actually white, which means if we multiply it, it's going to be a lot easier to change the color of it. So let me just highway side pattern default, we're going to replace that. And if I go into the textures, highway, as you can see now it's white. For some, I believe the alpha went away, I don't know why. It's back now though. Now the material is going to look a little bit off, but it's fine, I can adjust it. Yeah. Yeah, I can totally do that. Like, I can do that myself, if that's fine with you. Because I do have a knockoff Photoshop, of course. I'll just have to copy the color. And yeah, I am gonna make two like preset. The preset is gonna consist of probably the normal colors, the groove colors, and I'm gonna make a separate layer for the star power probably. I'm not too sure how I'm gonna do that, but it's probably gonna be a separate layer. So I believe I can do something like, can I just blast the lightness? Yeah, there you go. So let me just copy the color for reference. And I can blast the lightness. That should be perfect white. Yep. Okay, awesome. There we go. That's white, that's white. And if I take a look at the track, it looks kind of off, but I saved the color of this over here. That should look exactly the same. And this color, I'm not too sure what it was. Was it the same? A little brighter maybe? Something like that. I do want to make some adjustments actually though to the track material, so I'm gonna do that right now because I feel like it is a little washed out. I'm gonna up the contrast of it a little bit. Of course. Yeah, I can do this. I think the new overlay color, that's fine. Maybe make this a little bit like, I don't know, 20% maybe. I don't know if that's too much. Make this a little bit darker maybe. Okay, maybe adjust this down. There we go. I think that's pretty good. These open nodes are kind of make the highway hard to see, but that's fine. Yeah, there you go. I don't know, what does it look like on stream? Because I feel like that's a good way of testing it. Yeah, honestly, you can barely tell what's going on there, but I think That's definitely better than before, I feel like. Let me copy these colors. This is, okay, so I'll just do layer 1. Oh, I refreshed. No. Okay, it's gonna error, that's fine. I just want to copy these colors over. So layer 1, that's actually layer 2. Oh, it's so annoying. I'm just adding comments, bro. I'm just gonna move this to my other monitor just so it doesn't do that. Colors this. Honestly, it might do it anyways. Let's see. Yeah, it still does it anyways. That's so annoying, bro. I'm just adding comments, writer. Damn. And that's layer 2. That's 14. That's like 15% opacity. And this color, of course, is that. And okay, that's enough of that. Believe that's all we need. It's also probably a good idea to keep the fade information. I'm just gonna make a class with all the information right now. So we're gonna do a public class track material or I'm just gonna call it preset. Obviously, I'm gonna move this into the settings eventually. We'll see what I can do for that, but eventually it is gonna be part of the settings. So each layer is gonna have its own information. Public class layer, which is gonna have a public color. It's also gonna have a texture 2D texture. What else? It's gonna have. I'm not gonna worry about the texture right now. Again, I'll add that when we add the settings. So all we need is the color. Layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. So all 3 layers, you know, in that. Oh, there's 4 layers. My bad. And totally add a 4th one. So I can make a private static read-only preset. I'll just call it the normal, which is new, like this. And all I gotta do is layer 1 equals a new preset. Let's call it new, like this. And I can assign it a color. So layer 1 color is this. So do from hex, and then I do the hex code, which is right here, which is pretty easy to deal with. And then the, of course, alpha. This should be static, my bad. Pudding, how you doing? Nice to see you here. Need to take out the trash? Yeah, please do that. Don't want you to be overfilled with trash, of course. We're implementing. Currently, we're working on a new track shader. So, and we're just gonna implement all the other layers now. 2, 3, 4. 3 is honestly the custom layer. So, tell me there's a typo. Okay, buddy. Layer 2 has this color with this alpha, and layer 4 is just this color at 1 alpha. Alright, I'm gonna do the blue settings now. So all I gotta do is zoom out. Let's go stream. Okay, awesome. Obviously later on I can go in and adjust it as well. I'm gonna make the background blue, and I did the wrong material. Whoopsie daisies. Okay, looks good. Okay, glad to hear it. I was kind of iffy on that, but again, that can be customized, which is pretty cool. So I'm lost. Okay, so here's the background color. I need to find the correct background color. That is definitely not it. Something like this, maybe. I'll just copy this color. I'm gonna put it in a notepad so it doesn't actually refresh anything. I'll put it off screen. What about for, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit just so I can see. What about for this? I do want this to be also a little blue. Not too blue. Although that, well, I honestly kind of like the look of that being brighter. I think that looks kind of cool. Maybe not that bright, obviously, but I think that looks pretty cool. I can also add the fade effect, or not the fade, the wavy effect on that layer as well. We can totally add a toggle for that. Yeah, not that much. You think it should be a little bit? Actually, you're probably off. But yeah, I can obviously adjust that later. Let's do this one now. Obviously, we don't want this to be as much either. Something like that, maybe. Ooh, okay. I think I like that. From right now, you can increase the blue for a bit for layer 2. Okay, I can do that totally. Is YARG getting 6 fret support? We do plan on it. Obviously, that's more in the future because we do want to do like the new engine a little bit first. But it is planned. I think we already have a couple concepts for it thrown around. I think I retweeted one on my Twitter at one point if you want to take a look at it. But yeah, it is definitely something we were thinking about. Totally. That's good. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I'll copy those colors. The chat is a little bit off, so I hope I'm doing the right thing. Well-timed ad. Okay, well I can say it again in a moment. There. Okay, anyways, that's about it for that. Now I'm just gonna add the colors into here. So we have a normal preset and we're gonna do the groove preset. Equals new. Just like so. And I could put the new colors right in here with no problems. There you go. And as an example, apply preset. Actually, I'm gonna make a variable here called the groove. Actually, how should I do this? So I'll just put it right here. So public float groove state equals. Well, it's gonna equal probably 0f, right? Which is the default, so we don't have to worry about that. Also gonna do a public float underscore groove state, which is gonna be the cache of it. So get is gonna be underscore groove state, but set groove state equals a value to all of this, and here we just do the value. Don't need that semicolon. And then over here, I would just do bada bing bada boom. Then groove state. That's the current groove, and then we can set the float of that. Also known as just typing an equals sign. Whoops, and there you go. And that should achieve the same effect, hopefully. I am running short on time, so unfortunately, the solos, yeah, that's gonna be another layer. Solos is definitely gonna be another layer, yeah. I do have to go in a little bit, so I'm probably gonna get this working and commit it without the star power, if that's fine. I'll probably do it on a separate branch, obviously, because I don't want to, you know, break anything, but I am running low on time, so later on in the day, I'll add the star power. Let's just see if the groove works, though. Because, yeah, I do want to see. Ooh, it does work. Pudding, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. There's a groove. Do you think like, those colors are good? Do you think it's a little dark, maybe? What's your local time? I'm in EST, but I gotta eat dinner. You know, I gotta make some food for me to eat. I'm starving right now. And also, you know, have some personal things to do as well. Currently it's 6:26 right now, 6:26 p.m. That's probably more useful information to you. May I try adjusting the side color? Yeah, I can totally do that. Like darker or like brighter or what? You know what, Kadu? I'm actually gonna commit this, and if you wanna change the colors for yourself, you can totally do that.